The defense has begun the week by calling former Neverland Ranch employees to testify for the superstar.
Hi, Allison. The defense's case is well underway, and this morning we did see Michael Jackson arrive here at the courthouse in Santa Maria. He had his mother, his father, and his brother Jermaine by his side. And if the pop star is feeling energetic because his defense team is finally telling his side of the story, well, he is certainly hard to read. His demeanor appears to be just as stoic as he enters the courthouse. Today, this morning, the jury hearing from Neverland Ranch employees, some former and some current employees. Their testimony meant to raise questions about the credibility of some of Michael Jackson's former employees who testified during the prosecution's case that they saw Michael Jackson molest young boys.
You have to establish from a defense standpoint that no molestations occurred. Think whatever you want. Consider Michael Jackson weird. Sure, he has sleepovers, but every single one of the people who said he molested a boy is either wrong or lying, and that's what the defense has to do.
And with regard to whether actor Macaulay Culkin will in fact take the stand, we do believe the defense does intend to call him. And Allison, his testimony may come later in the week.
Actor Macaulay Culkin is expected to take center stage in Michael Jackson's trial this week. The Home Alone star who spent time with Jackson when he was growing up could be called to the witness stand by the defense team. Last week, two young men who slept in Jackson's bed both testified that despite the close contact, Jackson never acted inappropriately. If indeed Macaulay Culkin is called to the stand, what is he expected to say?
Well, Macaulay is expected to say that nothing inappropriate ever happened between him and Michael Jackson. But as it turns out, he is also tied to another witness here. Remember when I told you about the youth pastor from Santa Maria who testified that he was molested by Michael Jackson twice? His mom was Michael Jackson's housekeeper. Well, documents that have been filed in the courthouse here by the defense indicate that the defense team is planning to refute that testimony by saying that this young boy was lied to and manipulated by the detectives who interviewed him, and they told him that Macaulay Culkin was molested by Michael Jackson and that Macaulay's molestation was far worse than what had happened to him. And they also told him that another actor was molested by Jackson and that this actor, the consequence of that molestation was that he became addicted to cocaine. So in other words, they're going to claim that the youth pastor, when he was a young boy, was lied to and manipulated by the detectives, and that Macaulay Culkin fits into that story as well. So he will have a lot to talk about when he gets here on Wednesday, as we understand.
Is it a sure thing, or why is it a maybe right now that he may or may not take the stand? Is he expected to be a hostile witness, a willing one?
No, it's a pretty good bet that he will be here on Wednesday. He does want to testify on Michael Jackson's behalf that he spent many nights at Neverland, according to Culkin, and that nothing ever happened between him and Michael Jackson. So he will be the third witness to take the stand and say that nothing inappropriate happened between himself and Jackson.
What kind of note did the defense end on last week after two young boys and their mothers took the stand saying, listen, nothing inappropriate happened? Were they successful, the defense, last week?
Well, Julie, the two boys who testified were extremely successful, I think, for the defense. They needed to come forward because other witnesses in this case put on by the prosecution said that they were both molested by Jackson, so they needed to come forward and said that they were not. However, their mothers were a lot less successful, in my view, because the mothers told stories that I think made the jury really stop and think about the many nights, the consecutive nights that their sons slept in Michael Jackson's bed, not only at Neverland, as it turns out, but also in hotels across the country and during travels and vacations. One of the sisters of one of the alleged victims said that her brother spent 365 nights in Michael Jackson's bed.
Well, stay tuned, Randy. We are out of time.
Former child star Macaulay Culkin wrapped up his testimony in Michael Jackson's child molestation trial, and he told jurors he had never been molested by the superstar.
Actor Macaulay Culkin arrived and left the courthouse here in Santa Maria with very little fanfare. His testimony didn't last too long. In a very clear and strong voice, he told the jury Michael Jackson never touched him inappropriately. He also said, quote, "I never saw him act improper with anybody." Culkin at one time had a very close relationship with the pop star. The two traveled together. They spent a lot of time together at Jackson's ranch. And today, many observers saying Culkin's testimony was powerful for the defense.
It's hard to imagine there being a better witness for Michael Jackson than Macaulay Culkin. I mean, he not only answered certain questions about whether or not he was molested by Michael Jackson, and he affirmatively said no, but he also gave us the clearest and I think the most succinct window into the mind of Michael Jackson. And to date, that just hasn't happened.
Culkin did face a somewhat aggressive cross-examination by prosecutor Ron Zonin. Culkin did say yes, he shared a bed with Michael Jackson, but he described it as more like falling asleep on Jackson's bed. The prosecution then attempting to try and suggest that perhaps Jackson molested Culkin while he was sleeping. Prosecutor Zonin saying, "So as far as you know, you were never molested while you were awake." Culkin's response, "As far as I know, I was never molested by Michael Jackson." And right now, the defense is playing portions of a video that was taken from Michael Jackson's personal cameraman during the filming of the Martin Brashear documentary, Living with Michael Jackson. Natalie, that is, of course, the documentary that sparked the investigation that led to this criminal trial.
These young men, these supposed victims, one by one said it didn't happen.
I know what people said about us. I can't believe they did, because it didn't happen.
All right.